Hello everybody, this is Mr. O, and today I'm going to talk about proportions and how to start drawing a comic book anime character, whether it's going to be human, whether it's going to be a creature, and keeping proportions natural enough where it looks exciting and looks balanced. And then I'm going to do a drawing in action so you can see what it looks like when you draw something in action. And hopefully you guys are designing your own original characters, but it is okay if you take something else, something that you really like, whether it's from Dragon Ball Z or the comic books, but we will do something that deals with actions. Now, in previous videos, you might have seen these character sheets that I came up with, and I used the internet as a resource, as a model to kind of create these for myself. These are my rough drafts. There's problems with each one of them, but for drawing proportions, I thought it'd be nice for you to see what I'm talking about when you see the outline of a character. So when we start drawing, whether it's male or female or alien, robot, whatever, a body, I'm going to put the female off to the side here, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two at the end. So yeah, I'm hesitating there. I'm sorry about that. We just got our internet back up, and it's surprising how much you rely on that. And so right now nobody's watching my YouTube videos until today. So in the head, I start off with a circle. I used to say an upside down egg shape, and I would have students practice upside down egg shapes, but now I just have them practice circles. And then you probably notice I almost went two directions, and if I was drawing, I would actually just draw two lines for the circle. If you saw my shape video, I don't do one line. This way you have better control once you practice that method. And then it's a U shape, and as you can see, it's just a U shape, and if I want a firmer jaw, I would put angles in it and stuff like that, but you don't have to. And then I will do a little bit of a neck, and this is what I'm drawing is basically the skeletal structure. Now, I want you to notice something about the neck. See the distance between the end of the circle and the U? That is what I put for the neck when you look at it from the front. From the back, the neck will go higher, and I actually use the circle shape. So I'm reusing some of my shapes. So starting with your head in a correct size, I believe you can get proportions everywhere because you base everything off of that. Now, here is basically, now you can just draw this as a square, and I will show you the difference between them, you know, proportions of shoulders to hips. I will talk a little bit about that. Now, the spine here. See the length? How did I come up with that length? It's the length of the head. I make the spine the length of the head. And then it's kind of a triangle shape. Now I put a line here, whether it's male, female, or alien or anything. And so it doesn't just come to a point. Now, arms. Remember, everything I'm going to teach you is generalizations. So if you look at your body and say, well, that's not me, don't worry. These are just generic generalizations. Shoulder to elbow, this length equals elbow to wrist. Let me say that again. Shoulder to elbow equals elbow to wrist. And then usually what I do is I just do a box for the hand. Remember, you're basically drawing a skeleton of sorts. Now, as you get better at it, you will not need to do this. You will skip a lot of these parts, but in the beginning, it may take you a step backwards learning to draw this way proportionately. And I was frustrated, so I resisted in the beginning, and I regret that a little bit, because I became a better artist once I understood proportions. Now, when I draw, do you think I go with all these lines? No. But in the beginning here, you're going to need to. Now notice in the hips where I'm marking my points. You don't need to do these dots, by the way. They're just so you can see it on the camera and in the demonstration. The length of your legs, and I should do the length of the legs first. The elbow, let me go back to the arm. I did make a mistake. The elbow, if you look at this, it matches to the bottom of your rib. So wherever you draw, shoulder to elbow is to the bottom of the ribs. And notice that I draw a curved line. The more you move the arm away from the body, you do kind of like a protractor curve. You know those protractors you use in math? Think about the curved side of that, and that's what you're doing to help guide you in the length of your arm. Now, from the top of your head to the bottom of your zipper, if I say crotch, you guys are going to giggle, like you are right now, is the length of your legs. You see that? You're basically, from the top of your head to the bottom of your zipper is the length of your legs. So I would make marks down here, and then in the middle of the hip, halfway from the hip to the knee equals knee to the ankle. I was trying to remember the name there. So you understand that, like, there's such evenness. Now, this is why things change, because real people are not even. And some of you guys know you have a crooked face or crooked legs. You might not even notice it. It is my belief that what we consider our flaws is what makes us beautiful. Things that make us unique are beautiful, and it makes us individuals. So embrace that. And then I just kind of draw boxes. And you see how I do that just for the feet there. And you can see that I have the full outline. Now, what's the difference between drawing, let's say, a general male and female? Now, like I've said in the past, these things are made to be gender fluid, and I'm going to be doing a lot of different body sizes. So I'm just teaching you a fit, thinner, but you can just add thickness as you see fit. You'll notice that the head has a different U. Usually, most feminine people will have a softer chin. And now, does that mean everyone has a softer chin? No, it doesn't really matter. The biggest thing is the hips. Here's my shoulders. Here are the tips of my hips. Notice that an adult female basically almost lines up. And you could say it lines up. I think I kind of brought them in just because but they're not different by much. So that's what gives me a character more of a feminine quality or youthful quality. If I was doing an 11-year-old boy or a 12-year-old boy, I would follow this pattern with younger kids, and the same thing with younger girls. They will follow that. Whereas mature men and sometimes very athletic women, like swimmers, you will notice this in female swimmers. Their shoulders will develop wider than their hips. And now take a look at this. You see the difference between the two? And that is what you want to keep in mind. So if you're going to draw Captain America, it'll be more like this. Where if you're kind of drawing Spider-Man, you will be like in between the two of here. Because Spider-Man's a thinner character. He's not as muscular. So I would start more on the feminine quality and just widen his shoulders just a little bit more, and then add the muscles. I know some comic book artists are more like this over here, but don't concern yourself about that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a character in action, and you might see me draw basically these ovals. These ovals are my guidelines for the muscles. I no longer draw the shapes like I'm drawing right here, but you may like them as a guide for movement. And so I will probably add some shape so you can see that. And so I just want to explain to you what I'm doing. So I'm going to actually put the next part into a time lapse. So that way, as I draw, you're just not sitting there for 30 minutes watching me draw. It's just going to be a basic sketch. I'm going to, as you can see, and I'll talk about my character here in a second. Even drawing an alien, you'll notice that I use some rules of proportion, and then I broke some rules, and I will kind of talk a little bit more about that at the end. So, hey, I hope you enjoy the next section. Okay, so I'm still working on this, but I think you'll get the general idea. I need to put more wrinkles and more details. But this is like one of the first sketches that I did. I was just sitting at a lunchtime and I drew my character, and I just did him head to toe. And now with the cape flowing, it brings some excitement. But if you're going to practice characters, practice in action. My character reminds me a little bit of Nightwing and Spider-Man, so I'm inspired. So when I'm kind of stuck for poses, like this one, this looks like a Spider-Man pose, and or even a Robin pose, which is Nightwing, and I would go and I will kind of draw that pose. And as you can see, being dramatic, the biggest thing I struggle with is the costume. I have to remember where everything is located, so I always have a cheat sheet like this. I even have a color version of my drawing. I put it on the computer after I used some Prismacolor, and as I was kind of coming up with the name, we'll call him the Gray. This is my own original character. One day I'll have this book out. And so this will give me my character sketch that I feel like I'm ready to ink. Now, in action, and this is what makes this a little difficult, this is a copy of another picture that I did, is foreshortening. Making look like things are coming at you in a natural way. I do need to tweak the leg over here. I'm a little off. You might not be able to notice that, but I do. By the way, if you're wondering about the bottom of my soles, why I didn't draw like these, like the grooves, the character's uniform is kind of based on a World War I military outfit, a gray outfit. And during World War I, they used to put like tacks on the bottom of their boots for traction. And so that's what he kind of uses at the bottom of his boot. And there's actually a reason for it, but that's part of the story. As you can see, my character has gone through several redesign. Movement of the hair, very important. It makes things dramatic. And the reason I put kind of a cape hood on him is so I can show movement just through the cape alone. You'll notice it's not a very long cape. It's more of a just a covering, a cloak, a damaged cloak, a shredded cloak. Where in this I kind of made it look more like a bird wings. That wasn't the intention. So guys, you get to this point, and then you just practice different poses. You keep practicing until you get a pose that you want, and then you can start adding all the details, your finishing details. But notice that I did some erasing, but I didn't do a lot of erasing. I still have a lot of my extra lines. I'm not going to worry about those things. Guys, I'm going to probably stop right here for the moment. And let's just get a fresh piece of paper. I'll do it on the back of here. Oh, let me review some things with you. I apologize. I was going to talk about this guy. And so this is a creature. And using proportions, as I told you before, one of the things you can cheat with comic book and anime is you can make your proportions a little more dynamic and go out of proportions. My thigh bones are actually a little longer, and this one needs to be out a little longer, about right there. As you can see, I was adjusting and trying to figure out. This character I'm calling a shrieker. It's some sort of, it was based on a human that's been like corrupted, some sort of corruption. So I was taking like a demon and a zombie. What would that look like? What would be their weakness and what would be their strength? As you can see, I made very thin fingers that can easily be broken off or cut off. But the mouth, venom-like, this is their strength. You don't want to be bit, and I'm trying to design a tongue that has some sort of spine at it that will create poison. So that's kind of like my characters. It doesn't have real eyes, even though these right now it might look like it has 6 eyes. This is going to be like melted skin, and it's going to be more heat and echolocation. Kind of has that xenomorph. I mean, we can't get away from stuff like that. It was some good ideas just to repurpose. But I did follow my basic use of proportions, okay? And so whether you're doing creatures, even tiny little characters with the big heads, I don't know what you call them exactly. I'll mispronounce it, so I won't do it. They are still based on some sort of proportion. So look for those proportions, guys, okay? Now, I just want to let you know, and just in case you forget, that you are important. And maybe one of these days I'll do a video, I think I've said this before, explain why I say this. You go through enough life being told negative things, but don't forget you are important, you're important to me, and we'll see you next video. Bye-bye. you.